Hi guys, it is April from Getting Hooga With It. Today I'm very excited to be sharing some of my very favorite contemporary books that are on my shelves. I have more favorites that I don't have on my shelves, but I'm just sharing the ones that I've got, that I own. And I've got quite a few to share with you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 7 to share. Let's get into it. First, I want to say that if you like this video, please hit the like button. It really supports my channel, and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's dive in. So the first contemporary book that are on my shelves that I just love is an oldie but a goodie, and it's Bridget Jones's Diary. Now, I feel like this is a bit of a Marmite book. Like, you either love it or hate it. You either really adore Bridget, which I do, or you find her annoying. And I find her relatable. This follows a woman named Bridget Jones. She's a 30-something-year-old woman who's trying to find the love of her life. She's also trying to make a career. And it's about her story. And there's a love triangle in here. And it's a bit of a Pride and Prejudice retelling as well, which you know how I feel about Pride and Prejudice. I will say that this is my favorite of the series. I think I've tried to read Mad About the Boy before. I've liked Bridget Jones and The Edge of Reason. I didn't like Mad About the Boy. I think there's a couple more, but really it's this and maybe Edge of Reason. But this is so good, and you really do read her diary in here as well, and she's, you know, struggling with so many things that women struggle with. Her weight, her self-esteem, big time, and she meets some fabulous men and also some terrible men. So I feel like, I don't know, this came to me at a time where I wasn't really dating, but I was interested in dating. And I had a lot of insecurities, and I just loved every second of reading this. You know those books that you remember where you were when you read the book? Like, this is, I remember where I was and laughing and just love her, love Bridget. I also love the adaptation. Next is a more recent read for me. It's My Sister the Serial Killer. Now, some people might throw this under the thriller category, and I would not in any way, shape, or form do that. This follows 2 sisters. One of them is a serial killer, and the other one kind of cleans up her mess, literally, her dead body mess that she leaves behind. Her sister tends to kill off her boyfriends, and then she always has an excuse like, oh, he attacked me or whatever, but it's a recurring theme. And we follow the sister of the serial killer, and she has always had this crush on a doctor. I think she's a nurse, and you find out that her sister is starting to show interest in this doctor, and she's basically trying to save his life and stop her sister from killing him. It's very comical. Her sister is fantastic. Just such smart writing. I really loved every second of reading this book. And such an inventive storyline. I've never read anything like this before. And I just loved it. And I want to read more by her, but I think this is her only one so far. Next is a drama that's coming out as a mini-series. I think Reese Witherspoon has gotten a hold of it and is making it a mini-series on Hulu. And it's Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. Now, I read Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. Didn't love that one, but I adored this. This is about a very small town that's very picturesque. Everyone lives a certain way. Everyone, you know, is doing fairly well for themselves. And we meet a single mother who is an artist, and she moves here with her young daughter, well, like a teenage daughter. And we follow her, and we also follow another mother in this town who hires this woman as a cleaning lady. And basically what ends up happening is a baby is adopted, and it's very much called into question whether or not this baby should be adopted or whether it should stay with its mother. And these two women are battling it out with one another. What I loved about this book was you really get to see both sides of this really awful situation, and you understand both sides. It did feel like I was pushed to believe that one was right over the other, and I wish that wasn't the case because I liked the gray in this book. It was fantastic. It was such a fun mystery as well. It's got a mystery element in there. Beautiful writing. I'm definitely going to read Celestine's next book. Whatever it is, I'm reading it. Next is a book that I don't think I've ever talked about on this channel, and that is Bel Canto by Ann Patchett. She is a beautiful writer, and I've only read this so far by her. This follows one night. We meet a group of people who are at this party of a very powerful businessman named Mr. Hosokawa. Now, he doesn't even show up. However, a group of terrorists do, and they're basically holding the entire party hostage. And I think they had wanted to confront in a very violent way Mr. Hosokawa, and then he's not even there. It's about the interactions of the guests at this party, the interactions of the guests with these terrorists, why they're there in the first place. We meet quite a few people in here. This is stunning writing. Like, this woman can write, and it was not fast-paced, I would say, but it was so interesting. You need to know why they're there. You need to know, is this going to come to a head? Are they going to start killing people? It's fantastic. So I highly recommend that. Next is a book that I talked about recently in my Canadian literature video that I did with my sister. I will link that below for you. And it's a book that I have tried over and over again to convince you guys to read. It's Come Thou Tortoise by Jessica Grant. This follows a woman named Audrey, and she is flying home to see her father because her father is in a coma. And she's leaving behind her pet tortoise named Winifred. And when she gets to her father's bedside, her Uncle Toby is there. Her father is not well. And it's about her relationships with her father and her Uncle Toby, her relationship with Winifred, and it's a very strange book. Like, it's hard to sell this book because it's so odd. I will say, if you liked Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine, I think that you might like this. Audrey is a character that you'll never forget. I loved her, and I really want to reread this. Speaking of Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine, that is up next. I think I actually have 8 here and not 7. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This is about a woman named Eleanor who's very different. She doesn't really get along with people at work. She's very brash. She says what she thinks, and people don't really like her. She's got a hard time connecting with people socially. However, one day when she's walking home from work, she meets a guy on the IT team and an older man who's fallen, and they're both trying to help him. And it is about Eleanor opening herself up to people. She seems like she's got it all together at work, but then she goes home on the weekends and like binge drinks. She's very unhappy in her life. And you discover the root of that unhappiness, what happened to her in the past, and yeah, how she grew up basically. And it is fantastic. Eleanor, again, is another character that stays in your heart, and it feels like such a privilege to unravel her past. And she gives little bits and pieces of her past to you as she's doing with her friends that she's connecting with. So you feel like one of her friends, because as she's divulging something to this IT guy that she becomes friends with, Raymond, you're finding out about her stuff and her past that she's unpacking at the same time. And it really does feel like she becomes your friend, and I loved it. Okay, next up is Miracle Creek by Angie Kim. This is a mystery, courtroom mystery book, but it's also contemporary. This follows a group of people who are all connected because of this concoction, this machinery called the Miracle Submarine. And this Miracle Submarine is used, it's a piece of medical equipment, and it's used to help people with autism, people just dealing with infertility, and it's meant to help to cure them. So we meet a group of people who bring their children there. There's a man who's dealing with infertility, and he goes, and they go regularly enough that they become not friends, but they have a relationship. One day, the Miracle Submarine catches fire, and people die and are injured. And we follow the courtroom case of a mother of one of the autistic children who are killed. And she is accused of having lit the Miracle Submarine ablaze and having tried to kill her child. And it is so beautifully written, character driven, but also plot driven, because you are trying to find out who done it, really. Like, did she actually try to kill her son? How did this go down? And what I loved about this book, similarly to Little Fires Everywhere, you've got various perspectives, and no one's fully in the right and no one's fully in the wrong. Every single person in this book is a victim in some ways, and also victimizing someone in some ways, and being judgmental in some ways. And it's such a good lesson in, you don't know what people are going through, so treat people kindly. I can't tell you how much I adored this book. Oh man. Okay, last but not least, like, I am loving doing this video because I have so many favorites that just have touched my heart and in so many ways. And this one is no exception. This is Lily and the Octopus, and this follows a man named Ted. He's a gay man who is very much single and missing out on a love life, and he's a bit nervous to get back into the dating scene after a breakup. And he has this dachshund named Lily, and one day he sees this formation on her head. It looks like an octopus, and that's why he calls it an octopus, but it really is cancer. He knows it, we know it, and he's trying to treat her. And she's a very sick dog, and it's heartbreaking, but it's also wonderful to see his relationship with Lily, and it's about the love of dogs and what they bring into your life. The use of punctuation in here is fantastic. I'll never look at an exclamation mark the same way again. Lily speaks in exclamation marks, and as she gets sicker, the exclamation marks are fewer and fewer. And it's so beautifully written. I loved every second of this. Oh man. That one made me cry. I will say that. You'll cry reading that one. But they're all wonderful. Let me know in the comments below if you have any contemporary favorites. I'd love to know what that is. I need to read more contemporary. I usually love them, so I'd love to know what your favorites are. Also, I wanted to mention, in the description box below, you can go and check out my Amazon wish list. You can check out my Goodreads page. I'm on Instagram, so hang out with me on other platforms as well. And I will talk with you soon. Bye, guys.